Hello everybody. Good to see you today. Well, I'm going to explain a few things that I wish would have been explained to me when I was a first time homesteader just starting out. And so what you're looking at is out my back door right now. Okay. The wife's truck is gone, but we're going to look through this window here and see what we can see just from the house. You see the tractor, box trailer. That brown building up there is my wood / metal shop right now. The red building is a storage building. The white building with the siding is the feed and animal storage building, and it has things like yard tools in it, garden tools, things like that. The building you see right there is the woodshed. If you look on down the side, you can see it's got a little door in the side with a light over it. That is the entrance to the chicken coop, which is on the back side of the woodshed. Now, that is all very close. You can see how close that is to my house. There's a water spigot there. Up just beyond the hood of that truck, at the corner of that woodshed, is my well head, which we had dug there. And then up beyond that, you see those little trees. Let's see. Little trees. Oh, can't really focus that way. Those are my orchard. Okay? Now, there's a very interesting layout for you. You can see the fence posts up there. That's the back edge of this particular property. And then that hillside over there belongs to me as well, but there is 100 foot between my fence there that you see and the start of my other fence that you see over there. You can see one fence close and then one fence corner far away. That other fence corner is the start of my other property. Now that big hillside belongs to me, and then there's a field in the front of that hillside. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the setup here. And the reason I want to show you this setup is because most people don't explain very well how their homestead is set up and why it's set up that way. So I'm going to explain it to you, and I'm going to explain to you some of the issues. Now, in the snow, we've had snow a couple days. You can see where the tracks go. And that tells you where you walk. And that tells you a lot about what your paths are. So if you live in a snowy area, you can kind of figure out how to best minimize the walking on your homestead and minimize the effort. Now, you see the rabbit hutch back there. Now, we haven't walked back there because we don't have rabbits right now. But they're also close to the house. And both the chicken coop and what you couldn't see from the back door of the house is you see the chicken coop, the rabbit hutch. Well, there's our garden. Okay. Now that IBC tote's just hanging out there because I need to clean it out. There's where I can clean it out from. But anyway, you can kind of see my two manure sources on this small property. This is about 1 acre. My two manure sources for my garden are right next to the garden. That big heap over there is wood chips and compost. And so that's right next to the garden as well. So what you see is I can come out here, get wood, take it into the back door quite easily. So I designed this so that things would be easier. Now, there were some other factors at play that I didn't realize until later. Like chickens and feed for animals also bring pests such as rats and mice and so forth. And if they're too close to your house, they try to get into your house. So the best thing you can do is fortify your house and also put out poison and so forth each year, which I do. But in days like today, it makes it a lot easier to feed animals and to bring ash out, to bring wood in, just various different tasks, right? As you see, there's the orchard. I've walked over there, but I was checking on the outside for the chickens on the other side of their pen. But you can see I haven't walked really in the orchard right now. And that's because I don't need to. Over there, maybe once a year in the wintertime, you go over there and you prune everything. But I'm going to pick a day better than today to do that, right? So down there you see the road. Now you can see the shadows. That's what you need to pay attention to on your homestead, right? This hill is north facing. So right now you're looking south. Okay, so my best sun, as you can tell, it's got trees on it. And usually to about right where I'm standing is shaded in the summertime. And then about here now, where the garden is not as shaded, and usually not very shaded. It still faces north, but if I wanted to put solar panels, for instance, I'd have to do that in the front yard. In front of that car, there is my grapevines. I plan on putting some raised beds over there near the grapevines. And doing my perennial plants like strawberries and spices and herbs, different things like that. Those will be what you can grow of those will be grown in raised beds. I also do my berries around my chicken coop. I train the berries outward. You can also do that, say, under windows so that burglars or would-be thieves have a hard time getting in. So through a window. So it's good to think about how you're going to set up your homestead, right? And so that hill over there at the very top, I've got a clearing, which is not quite too useful. Let me walk down here. Let's walk over here and see what we can see. Okay, so I'm walking through the front yard right now. I'm going to walk over here to our second property. I'll just tell you how long it takes to get over to my goats. Which I shouldn't need to do much. I've already fed them hay. I fed them yesterday. They have enough to last them a while. But in order to get to my goats, see, there's a mailbox. But in order to get to the goats, I have to come over here, walk in front of the neighbor's house on the road, and walk over to my gate to get to the goats. Now right there's a dog feeder to where he can get fed. Hey Abel, how are you doing, buddy? Okay. Now up there at the top you see another gate. You see goats running towards me. What are y'all doing? Okay. But anyway, I don't have nothing for you right now. Sorry guys. Sorry, nothing for you. But anyway, up there's a flat spot. That flat spot was where I originally wanted to put my barn. But in order to get there, you have to go on out the road, up the next driveway that's just over that hill, back actually on the bottom side of that hill. Go up that driveway and up and around. There's a steep pitch on it to get up to that flat spot you see. So in order to get there, I'd have to continue walking. But I could put, about where that, you see that's disturbed snow, I could put a barn right there. And then my power pole's right here. My current shed goes right here. Or I could continue walking like that way, walk back around and up that hill, which is what I'm currently having to do to give them hay. The hay feeder's up there at the top of the hill. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. So I've rethought where I'm going to put my barn, and I'm going to put it down here. And then I'm going to fence in a little corral, bringing in this light pole over to where our barn will be, and then back down to the fence. That way I can also drag my truck in here and unload hay into the barn, or load up goats or whatever I need to do. And I can do that from a nice flat area where it connects to the road without having to go up the hill, not having a good place to turn around with the trailer up there, and not being able to get up there in the wintertime, not even with a four-wheel drive sometimes. So anyway, this is something you got to think about when developing your design for your homestead. Now, I bought this land that you're looking at first, and I on up all the way up the hill and then on back further than that. And this is approximately 11 acres. It's a little bit more than 11 acres. It's a little bit more than 11 acres, but over here where my house is, I own an acre. I bought the 11 acres first. Then I bought the house. So I bought the 11 acres in 2016. I bought the house in 2017. And as you can tell, it's not a bad house. It's an old house. I've remodeled it. I need to do the outside, but I've remodeled the inside almost completely. I've built this fence up around it. And as you can tell, it's pretty nice, and it's set up the way I want it. Now, straight up the driveway in front of what the brown building is, where the trailer and the tractor are parked, I'm going to build a 3-bay garage. I'm going to use that for a metal shop, wood shop, and that building that's currently there for the wood shop and metal shop will be storage for extra materials, like wood, metal, so forth, and tools. Because I found that shop that I have just isn't large enough to even really effectively use a table saw very well, because it's 12 by 20, which is enough. By the time you put all your stuff in there, you have a lot less space. So if I want to break down a 4 by 8 sheet of plywood, it becomes very difficult, and most of the time I just take it out in the yard beside it. This red building is storage. It'll move to a different property. That white building is feed storage, and it'll move on the other side of the garden here where the rabbit hutch is. And where you see all that will all be garage. And really, I may put a right in there somewhere, I may put a greenhouse, and that'll complete this piece of property, especially since I've got the house mostly remodeled. But I bought it in 2017, bought that in 2016. Then I come across a very nice piece of homesteading property. That's almost 40 acres, 39.3, I think, in 2022 that I purchased. And that homesteading land has about 12 acres of field. It's got a creek that runs year round on it. It's got really nice laying land that has rolling hills, and it's just great land for homesteading. But that puts you in a situation, right? Do you move? Do you build a house there? Because it's got no infrastructure other than a good road going in. I've got a nice private road. But it's got no well. There's no pump for the water. Even if I was to pump it out of the stream, which is not great. If I owned the spring head, it'd be different, but I don't. And it's got 27 acres of woods, roughly. And so it's got great fields. There's no rocks. I mean, I cut hay on it. I could convert some of that into crops, and I can grow crops on some of it and hay the rest of it. But it's got a beautiful place for a house site. But I have no septic, no well. It's on a road that's a private road for 3/4 of a mile, roughly. It seems like, I think it is about, well, I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe half a mile. It's just a lot. Right here, they scraped that road. We just walked down that road. They scraped it. It's a good road. Now, some people don't like being near the road. I don't much care for being near the road. I'd like it to be more private, but that's time and money. Again. So here, I've already put in the work, and so I've worked since 2016 on these two properties and made them what I wanted, fenced them in, did different things. Now I've got a neighbor. Now, it's not a bad problem. Over there, I would have a neighbor, but not nearly as close. But I could still see them. A couple of them actually. And it would just be different. But a lot of people will buy that 40 acres and they'll move their whole family and rebuild a house. And that'd be fine and dandy if I could get the money and time back out of this house that I put into it. But I can't. I've built this to be a great place to be. I've put all the time in to make it what I wanted. And it's turned out really, really, really nice. And so all I'm missing is finishing the external remodel with siding. And I've got one room on the inside to finish up, and then I'm done with the house. And I'm going to build a garage right here. So, you know, there's a quandary there, and most homesteaders don't really talk about it, right? They don't talk about the issues. And the issues are, you either live with what you currently have, and most people homestead because they want to get into something. And I'm out in the boonies, okay? I'm in rural western Virginia, way away from any large city, so I'm good. All my land is here. My other land, that 40 acres, is a couple miles down the road. But if I went to sell this house in the condition it's in, which is good, honestly, even if I just finished redoing it and sold it, then I have to start over there. Have to start over from scratch. And I'm not going to get enough money to start over from scratch and build a brand new home for what I have in this. And this is a much nicer home, and it's built well. And I built it myself, as far as redid everything. The only thing I hired out was getting my well dug, because you have to hire that out to get a permit and to be able to have the rig to do it. So, you know, doing all those sort of things, again, it's taken me since 2016 to get to today, so nearly 10 years, and by the time I'm done with everything, it will be 10 years. And I also have an additional nice piece of land here, so I could sell this land, start over there, maybe have enough just to build a house. If I sold this and the 11 acres, I could just build a house that would be somewhat acceptable, probably, and have to finish everything else myself, and start completely over with 10 years. And I would have 12 acres less of land. So there's no good fences over there. There's not much of anything good. So you need to think about what your circumstance is. For me, even though that land is south facing, you know, it'd be better for solar, it'd be better for different things. It'd be worse for some things. It's farther from the road. It's harder to get in and out. Right now, kids can go to the bottom of the driveway right here. I can look out my front window and see them, and they can catch the bus there. They can't at the other place. They can't do that. So it's a give and take. You put your woodshed near your house, you put your chickens near your house, and you're probably going to have a rat problem at some point that you're going to have to eradicate. So that's, you know, pluses and minuses. But do you want to be out in this weather going and fetching wood for your wood stove all the time? And I would venture to guess you probably don't. You probably don't want to feed your chickens way out in the boonies. Also, you probably need to get electric. I put an electric warmer in my chickens' water. Well, it needs to be near the house so I can run a cord over there. So I can either deal with all the other issues, or I can deal with the rat problem. So I'm dealing with the rat problem. So I've fortified my house to where rats can't really get in with concrete and rat wire and different things. And then I tried cats, and that worked until some folks around here decided to take in cats and try to feed them. And so the neighbors feed them better than I do, and I don't feed them milk and stuff like that because I want them to catch rats, and I don't want to domesticate the cats. I want them to be kind of wild and catch things, and that's the whole point. But the neighbors have ruined my barn cats. So then I had to go the poison route and the fortification route. So when you're homesteading, a lot of the times you don't know this stuff until you do it. And there's homesteaders online that they don't share this with you. So I'm trying to share everything. But anyway, something to think about when you are designing your homestead. Think about how everything's laid out. And then if you really get into this, you'll want to buy more land probably than you could afford when you first started. And if you do that, and you don't want to go in debt to the man, because I don't owe anything on any of this property over here, that's part of being prepared and having your homestead, right? It's not having to answer to a bank. And so that's what I've done here. If I would have, when I first started, tried to buy that land, it wouldn't have been available. Two, I would have had to build everything as a brand new build, and I wouldn't have had the money to do that, and I would have been indebted to the bank for 30 years. This way, I've accumulated it all in less than 10, and I don't owe the bank. So there's two different schools of thought, but I can still use that land over there. The only problem is I got to make sure to secure things over there. I got to have security over there. So I need to build fences, and I'd like to build an equipment shed so I can keep my hay equipment over there. That is the biggest issue over there, is security, and it being far away, so not being as accessible in the wintertime. And then over here, I don't have as much land, and it's north facing, and it's steep, unlike over there where it's beautiful, nice land. But I can run animals over here. I have everything I need over here. I've already built it. For the most part, I've got a few little things left to do. And I can still go over there and maybe have a shooting range, have my hay, have my crops, have plenty of wood to cut down, trees for different projects. In fact, all these fence posts came from over there, from wood in the woods over there. They were all black locust trees that I cut down, and that's what I used for these fence posts around this property. So anyway, you need to think about what you're going to do as a homesteader, but you also need to think about the future changes. The only thing that's going to be constant, really, is your weather. And you're going to have consistent weather over a climate, and you're going to have consistent sunlight based on how trees are growing and where your land is oriented, right? So on this north-facing slope, it's not perfect, but also in the summertime, I don't have to cool my house as much, and I heat with wood, and it's easier to heat than it is for me to cool. So that's actually a good thing for my house. But anyway, think of things when you think of orienting your buildings, and it could be as simple as this. That barrel right there is my burn barrel. I'm in my wood shop right now, right? So it's far enough away, it's not going to catch my building on fire as long as I don't let it get crazy out there. But I can burn my wood scraps and my ends and cardboard and so forth that I don't want to keep, which I keep most of my cardboard, but I can burn anything I don't want from my shop over there in my barrel. It's away from the house, way away from the house, far enough away from the shop, but it's convenient to my shop. My dogs and my wood and my chickens and all that are close to my feed. My chickens and my rabbits are close to my garden. My wood is close to my house, right? So, and it's also close to my driveway. So when I pull up and I've chopped wood from a down tree at my other 40 acres, I can just back my truck up to it and unload it in the woodshed. So you need to think about these things when you're designing your homestead, and get out a piece of paper and look at it. Look in the snow at where your tracks go and see how you can minimize those. I would say actually right here where I'm standing, and this shop used to be where my chickens were, but it was too far away from the house in the winter, and I used to slide up and down this hill. I put my wood shop here because I knew my garage was going to go in front of it, and this would not be my permanent wood shop. But I won't belabor the point. Thank you. Please like and subscribe so that this video gets shared to other people who may actually find use of it. And hopefully you found some use of it. I wish I would have seen a video like this when I first started. Thanks.